Hi, my name's Callum from Prophecy. I'm going to be taking you through a really quick idea I had, and it might be successful, it might not be. Let's have a look. So I'm on the Kaggle website, and I've entered a few Kaggle competitions in my life, and not done particularly well. Kaggle is a data science website data science competition website where people post competitions and then register for those competitions and submit their entries, and they're basically largely machine learning models that are trying to predict something, mostly supervised machine learning models. You can see here I have entered a competition, and that competition is Actuarial Loss Prediction. My rationale is because Prophecy is a data preparation technology, and enables really non-technical users to be able to prepare data sets. And combined with the fact that 80% of data science work is data preparation, 80% of the challenge, I was going to see how far I could go using Prophecy's AI capabilities to build pipelines and actually train a machine learning model. So let's see how we go. Now I am going to download the data. Let's do that. So I have this training data set, which is essentially all of the different samples of claims. And that's what I want to use to train the machine learning model. So I'm going to flick over to Prophecy. Here's Prophecy, and I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to call this a Kaggle Actuarial Prediction, or Loss Prediction. Be very specific. And then complete. The very first thing I'm going to do is create a pipeline. I'm going to call this the training pipeline. And then, of course, the data that I want to add. You can see here I have a source gem here. We call these gems, these little buttons here, or little icons. And there's various different data sources I can connect to. So it could be a cloud data warehouse like Snowflake or Databricks. It could be a sales, or it could be an application, it could be a network drive, etc. This time though, I'm actually not going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and just upload a file. I'm going to select a location to upload it to. You can see that it's inferred the schema, complete with the data types. I don't want to change this at all, so I'm just going to click next, and then I get to see the data here, and done. Okay, so the file is successfully stored in my cloud data warehouse, and I can see that it's right here. Next thing that I'm going to do is actually use the Prophecy AI capability supported by agents to go ahead and try to build this pipeline. Now, if I go back to the description or the overview, I need to predict the ultimate incurred claim cost. And I need to calculate the RMSE. There's not a heap of information here, but maybe I'll just copy and paste this. And I will say, build me a pipeline. And I'm going to paste. Okay, I'm also going to add a few more details. I'm going to say, prepare the data set. So it's going to go off and train this, and then I will come back by speeding this up. It should take a couple of minutes, but I won't make you sit through this. Okay, so it looks like we've created a new pipeline called ML Data Preparation. I'm going to go ahead and run it, and I can see that it's successfully run. Let's have a look at what it's actually doing now. So if I go into this gem, I can see that it's replacing some null marital status columns or fields with unknown. It's calculating a new column called days to report, the number of days it took to report between the accident and the report, the total number of dependents. So some sensible things here, which is great. Some binned features, so I can see a number of case statements here just saying creating age bins, creating wage bins, hours, the number of hours worked, and doing some categorization here, which is all very standard and all very good. And then some hot encoding. I can see the genders, marital status, ages, employment. So it's using some of those bins to do that hot encoding, and then gives me a feature list where I get to have a look, and I can see that there are 39 columns here, which compares with, if I look at the source data. So I started with 15 columns and now I have 30 something columns, which is great. Looks good. Next thing that I want to do though is actually train the model. So use this data. Okay, great. So I can see that it has said that it's running the ML training pipeline, and I can see that it's actually created a new ML model training. It's going to train a gradient boosted tree model, which is what I wanted, and the output predictions with the RMSE metrics. So that is perfect. And then I could, well, it's actually suggesting a couple of, so I'm going to need to schedule these two pipelines, and I can use Prophecy Scheduler to do that. I won't do that just yet, because what I want to do is just make sure that it's working. So the next pipeline that I want to create is, okay, now create a new inference pipeline. Actually, let's do that while we're entering. Let's create the pipeline. Let's call this an inference pipeline. So I'm going to infer or predict the values here. Use the same data prep techniques in the ML data preparation, because I want to reuse a lot of that. So I'm going to upload the test data set. Again, you can see that the schema is very similar, and I'm going to click done. Importantly though, one thing to note is if I scroll all the way across to the right hand side, I see the initial incurred claims cost. I can see that Kaggle has made a typo there as well, which is interesting. But I don't see the ultimate claims cost, which is what I'm trying to predict. So this would, it would defeat the purpose of having that in this particular data set. I'm going to just continue telling this prompt what to do. I want the resultant data set to have two columns. One, and this, if we go back to what we needed to do, it's these two columns that I need it to have. So I'm going to go ahead and say columns. Use the ML model trained in the ML model training pipeline. Okay, let's go. Okay, so we now have a fourth pipeline. So actually I don't need this training pipeline anymore. So we've got ML data preparation, our ML model training, which is actually training this GBT model, and then the inference pipeline, which is going to look exactly the same as the data preparation, and then the result. So I am going to run this to get the prediction results. Okay, great. So it executed completely, and I have what looks like the precise right format. I'm just going to write it to a table. So the Kaggle competition website asked us to calculate our RMSE, or the model to calculate RMSE, which is the root mean squared error. And that measures how far off a model's predictions are from the actual values on average. It works basically by squaring the errors, so negatives don't cancel out positives, averaging them, and then taking the square root to bring it back to the original unit of measurement. The lower the RMSE, the closer the model's predictions are to reality. So it's essentially a single number to summarize the score. Okay. So this is the dollar amount that we're off each claim, which doesn't sound great on theory, but basically, if we can compare that with the public and private leaderboards, and these are the competition winners. So if we look, we're 24,000 versus 23,000, which is really only $1,000 off, maybe $1,500 off, and then 31,000 versus 29,000, again, really only $1,500 off. We're comparing pretty well. Now, the difference between the two leaderboards is that they use different test data. So we're using about 20 to 30% of the data in the public leaderboard, and then the private leaderboard uses 70 to 80%. And the differences could be that we've overfitted the model, differences in distribution of the data sets, and a few other reasons. So I'm going to end this now, but stay tuned for part 2. If you want to learn more about Prophecy, please contact me, Callum at prophecy.io, or go to the Prophecy website, which is just prophecy.ai. Cheers.